Hi everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. So one of the things that a lot of advice videos and writing tips talk about is having that style that is uniquely yours. Something that you'll pick up over the years, and books you will write will tell the reader without looking at your name who wrote this book. I thought that today I would give you some tips on how to find said style, beyond the obvious, which is to keep writing and seeing what stays the same as you grow as a writer. So number 1, analyse your work. This is the first step really. It's the best way to really grow as a writer, but also to see what your style and voice is. It's easy to look at a work you've written and think, well, it's obvious who wrote this, but that's because you're the person who wrote it. I don't mean to state the obvious here, but it's very much something that you should be analysing as a reader, as well as getting feedback from beaters and CPs and the like. This is a surefire way to find your own style, to hone your craft, and to also allow you to see how you've grown over multiple projects. Analysing your own work can seem daunting, and you kind of need to leave that ego at the door. While some writers will find this easier than others, it's still a necessary step to take. Yes, it's possible to be too critical about the prose and the plot and the like, but this is where this differs from an editing pass. You're not so much looking at what's wrong, but how things happen, how characters react, how you as the writer work to make their voices distinct from each other. It's in the breaking down of your work that you'll start to see themes and style choices that you've made, and from there it's easy enough to narrow down the basics of how you as a writer bring your own voice to your stories. Number 2, analyse other books. This seems to be another obvious one. After all, if you're not analysing other works, how do you know what your own style is going to look like? I know that for me, it's hard sometimes to switch off my reader brain and move on to the writer one. I like to just absorb books, and worrying too much about why this author wrote things this way can take some of the enjoyment out of it for me. But it is something that's necessary. You don't have to do it with every book you read, but you do need to do it. My advice would be to stick with your age category and genre when it comes to analysing for style purposes. There's no point in picking apart a book that's going to be nothing like your own. While it can help in some ways for finding your style, it needs to be like for like. So what are you looking for? It's similar to the things in the last point. Look at how they shape their characters, the plot, the world, the word choices, the dialogue tone, and all of that, and compare it to your own way of doing things. Not every author will have a strong and distinct voice, so don't be alarmed if you don't find it in every book you read. But make those conscious choices to search and dig through the plot and character and such, and narrow down that style and voice should there be one. Number 3, try new things. This is a big one. When you're first starting out, you don't really know what works for you and what doesn't. Well, I'm sure some writers do, but I didn't. I spent a lot of my early years trying to learn things by taking other things writers and authors had talked about and applying them to my own writing process and the like. The same can be said for finding your style. If you read an author and know what they've done with character voice, for example, have an attempt at doing the same yourself. By this, I don't mean copy it word for word, but try and put your own spin on things. It really can help you find things that work for you and make your style more obvious and distinct for people reading. It's also a good exercise for finding things outside of style and the like. You can find new tropes you like, or new character types you like, and so on. It's a great learning tool. Number 4, work out your phrasing. One thing that really makes a certain style stand out more than others is the way you phrase things, whether that's how a character talks or how they describe something or how the story is structured and the like. It all works pointing to your own unique way of doing things. If you're looking to emphasize something, you'll do it in a way that other writers won't. You'll be using certain words, certain turns of phrase, etc., and it all adds up to a distinct style. I know that when I write certain scenes, I'll be focusing on different aspects of said scenes. Because of that, it changes the way readers take in that scene and what it all means for them. It's a way to make sure that my voice is coming across, and from there that my style is obvious. So number 5. compare and contrast. Now that you've done all the analysing and the like, you need to compare and contrast. I don't just mean other books to your own, but earlier works to later ones and so on. You want to be looking at one project you wrote and then comparing it to another one that you're writing right now. Do they have a similar voice while also being unique in their own right? Do the characters all appear as sharp and distinctive as their own people? Do you have a way of telling and showing that matches up? And if so, does it make things too similar? There are loads of other questions you can ask yourself, but these are a good place to start. You want there to be some differences, but you also don't want them to be so wildly different from each other, especially if they're in the same age category and genre, and even more so if they're a series. So take what you've learned, what you've tried, and contrast them to each other and move on from there. So there we go. Those are my 5 tips and tricks really when it comes to finding your own style. It's something that I've really learned as I've grown as an author, and it's something that I've really learned over the years. I've been writing for a very long time now. I've been publishing for a very long time now. And over that time, I've learned different bits and pieces about my own voice, about my own style, and about my own characters. It really is something that you don't learn until you're more far removed from the project, but that's okay. So do you have any tips when it comes to finding your own style? If you do, let me know in the comments down below. So that's what I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like, or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere. And don't forget to pick up Lights Off, which is the 3rd in the Young Adult Dystopian trilogy. And also don't forget to grab a ticket for The City in Birmingham in July 2023, where I'll be signing books. All the links for which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye!